there are always frontiers to conquer. I always say that I am forever happy and I'm never satisfied, which means that there will always be a new frontier. That's what makes life interesting.
Hey, I am Randy. I have known Linda for, 37 years, I think. And I have been in the unique position for the past few decades to be called or known as her daughter, which is pretty special. I met her when I was a toddler, and she stepped in when my mother passed away and filled those shoes. And I had quite a unique experience with Linda because I got to visit her every summer and travel with her, and I got to see her professional side as well as her silly personal side, which not everybody got to see. And if you did, you were super, super blessed because she had an amazing sense of humor. And I think the one thing about Linda that I can say is that she's always seemed like magic to me. She really and truly was unbiased. She took the time to speak to everyone, whether it be, somebody on the way to a business conference or a homeless person on the street or a child that was just fascinated with how her wheelchair worked. She always took a few minutes out, stopped. Sometimes it drove me crazy because it took us forever to get anywhere, but she took time to make a personal connection with everyone, which I think is pretty spectacular. Growing up, Linda got to act as a mother, whether it be when my brother and I were fighting or when I needed advice. I've always been able to either call her or, more recently, since she's had her trait, email with her and discuss everything that's been going on in life. And she always had kind words. Sometimes she'd drive me crazy and send me links to animals at kill shelters that she wanted me to pick up and adopt, or send me silly clips of birds or animals doing something. But Linda really has been a special staple in my life as well as my kids for so long. So it's been definitely a challenge to figure out how to balance out the space that she's kind of left behind. But I am very fortunate that I got to meet some of you guys that are probably on the Zoom meeting, as well as Linda and her family, her father and her mother. I learned an infinite amount of things from all of them. And I definitely am very appreciative of the experiences in life that I have been able to live because Linda made it just that much richer.
So good morning. I'm Lisa Scales, and I've known Linda my entire life. We were neighbors. We've lived across the street from each other in Hemphill Township in Westmoreland County. And I have such fond memories of Linda growing up. And even at that young age, Linda was all about giving back to the community and fundraising. She held an annual fundraiser for muscular dystrophy in her yard. It was a carnival, and it was the highlight of the year, and it was spectacular in typical Linda fashion. And that's probably my fondest memory of spending time with Linda. Watching her and helping her plan. She didn't really need my help, but she, spending time with her, planning and up to the carnival, and then kind of relishing in how successful it was afterwards for how much money was raised. I'll never forget that. And over the past 10 years, Linda has been such a supporter of not only me, but also the food bank. She was always there for me. Lending an ear when I was having challenging times, encouraging me, offering advice. And yes, she was not only a prolific reader, but a prolific emailer. And I would also get emails from her all the time, and a lot more recently, of course, about food insecurity and or just anything that was on her mind. She said, read this article or read that article. And it was always just terrific insights. Or she would call me and say, we need to meet. We need to talk about fundraising. We need to, how's the food bank doing? The last time I saw Linda was in early March, and we had dinner together. And we had planned then on having monthly dinners after that. And unfortunately, that did not happen. The pandemic spread to southwestern Pennsylvania shortly thereafter. We did talk a lot. That dinner lasted hours. I was there till late into the evening, and we talked about everything from the virus to politics, to fundraising, to the food bank, to food insecurity, to family, and family. We kept coming back to family. Logan, we talked quite a bit about you and how you were doing. We talked about my parents and how they were doing. In true Linda fashion, I did receive an email message from her in less than 2 weeks before she passed. And she had just watched Good Morning America, and there was a story on food insecurity. And she wanted to make sure that I would see that. So really, my dear, dear friend Linda, I will miss you, and your spirit will always be with me. And I know with the community and with all of your loved ones. So thank you. Thanks for this opportunity, Steve. I appreciate it.
Hi, I hope you can hear me. My name is Terry Moore. I worked for Linda at Executive Report for about 3 years in early 90s. And I always admired and felt a connection with Linda for her sense of empathy and caring for others in need. And we were friends for almost 30 years and worked at Executive Report 1991 to 1994 and on Linda's campaign for county commissioner in 1995. And served on the board of Homeless Children's Education Fund, which she encouraged me to join, and that was an important fund to work with, and was one of my first board of directors, which she was instrumental in getting me to on those. When I met her for the first time in December 1990, she just had a captivating presence, and it was easy to look past the fact that she was in a wheelchair. I've always said Executive Report, it was very different to work anywhere. It was very different to work there than any place else I ever worked, and became my favorite job in my career, above all. And the reason for that is she cared a lot about others in the community, and so did I. I began to find out, and she prioritized collaboration in order to make Pittsburgh a better place to live, and she was successful with this. And I came out of there, and I felt as though an organization's culture begins at the top, and she established a wonderful example for the rest of us to follow. She was one of a kind, and who had a great love for Pittsburgh, and was an integral part of the city's renaissance too. And I will miss her caring nature and her intellect and her compassion. And I saw her frequently. We had just emailed on the Wednesday before she passed. So it was all a very big shock to me, very big shock. And they'd seen each other last over Labor Day. And Pittsburgh has lost a truly great friend, and that's all I. Thank you.
Can everyone hear me? I'm assuming that you can. I first met Linda when I was working at Ketchum, and it was one night around 7:30 in the evening, and I got a phone call out of nowhere, and it was Linda Dickerson. I never knew who she was or anything, and I was teaching a graduate course at Duquesne, and she wanted to get into that course, and it was full, and the only way that she could get in was permission from the adjunct faculty, which is me. And I said, of course, that I'd be happy to, write a letter or whatever. So she ended up joining my course. And the point here is that there was nothing that she put her mind to that she couldn't do. And even though this is a small thing, anything that she did, whether it was something small or big, when she put her mind to it, she did it. And she was like literally an army with banners. a one-woman army with banners, and her persistence. One of the key ingredients for success in life, she had it. Um, she had it nailed down flat, because anything that she thought that she could do or wanted to do, she did. Um, and I've known her for over 30 years since that time. And as life went on, our lives became more integrated. We worked in business together. She was without fatigue. When we would write a marketing plan, it would be till 2 in the morning, and she'd still be, okay, let's get that next section done or whatever. And we would, keep plowing at it or whatever. Um, and she had a wonderful mind for business. And I always wondered where she, got all her knowledge. I mean, she just seemed to grab it from so many different areas that I was just astounded by the way she knew so much about what was going on, and what to bring into whatever the situation or the context was. Um, as time went on, my daughters, I have 3 daughters, and the three daughters and I would have annual Christmas lunches with Linda, and they were wonderful. We'd pick a restaurant, could be Lydia's or anywhere, and we would just go there and we'd exchange presents, and it was just a wonderful time. And so, I mean, it's one of these things where, you're riding the trail with someone for so long. I saw her probably less than 2 months ago, and just, went in to visit her, as we would always just touch base, and she would talk about Logan, and just had a wonderful time with Logan and the whole family. And I'm going to leave you with one quick story, and that is about once a year, she would have to go to the hospital, and so people would stay overnight. And so, a number of people, I'm sure a lot of people on this call have stayed overnight with her. So I would go there. I would generally get the midnight shift, and or the later in the evening shift. And so I would go there and my thing was to help her get to sleep. So I would say, well, I've memorized a lot of poems tonight, Linda, and so we put the eye mask on, and then I'd start reading. I'd start reciting these poems, and after about the 6th poem, this little voice came out and said, "Well, what page are you on now?" Because she realized that I wasn't memorizing all these poems. I was reading them out of a book. But anyway, you couldn't get anything past her, and she had a heart bigger than she was, and she will be sorely missed by all of us and the world, everyone she touched in her orbit. Godspeed.
I met Linda in summer '87. I'd come to the US for the first time as a marketing intern at Executive Report magazine. I met Mr. and Mrs. Dickerson, and they were great. They hosted me in Greensburg. Linda was amazing. She went to great lengths to make it a great internship. It was a great first professional experience, a great experience, first experience as well of the US. And it turned out to be a great life lesson to me. As we all know, she was a most amazing human being. She was curious, passionate about all aspects of the world, and she was great at sharing it with others. She was a great storyteller. Sabine, my wife, and I still have a children's book about a lion in our library. She was incredibly courageous and resilient. Anything always seemed possible with Linda. She was always full of energy and ready for action. I don't think I ever heard her once complain. Rather, she'd worry about others, about other well-being, and she never forgot to have a nice word, a little gift for all who crossed her path. That has been over 30 years. And ever since, she's remained a role model and a true friend. I feel very lucky that I got to know her. Thank you. Thank you for that, Linda.
Hi, Steve and others. My name is Jenny Thornburg, and gosh, that Steve is so wonderful. A teammate in heaven fighting for justice. Wonderful. I'm a woman of faith, and so often Linda and I would talk about issues of faith, how to make our congregations of all faiths more welcoming to people with all types of disabilities. As you may know, Dick and I have a wonderful son named Peter, who is a man of faith and has a developmental disability. And one of his favorite things is going to church. And the question is, how welcoming is that congregation to his gifts? That's been my professional work, and Linda encouraged me the whole time that that was an aspect of disability rights that had often been ignored. Linda and I shared a love of animals. Maybe some of you had been at the aviary or at the zoo on the behind the scenes trip where we saw how the animals were fed and how they were encouraged and how they got their shots. And I just loved that part, her love of animals. And actually, my favorite animal is a hippopotamus. I don't know. I don't think he's featured very much in the animal kingdom. And so every Christmas and every birthday, Linda gave me a hippopotamus. Sometimes it would be a plush play dog. Sometimes one time it was in ivory, metal, wood. One was in soap. And I always, at Christmas and birthday, we shared a January birthday, and often we're together on that joint day celebrating. Those of you who've received gifts from Linda know they were always carefully wrapped. They weren't just thrown in a bag. And they had the most beautiful ribbon that I've ever seen. Thick ribbon, expensive ribbon. And more recently, the last 5 or 8 years, ribbon with a little wire around it that allowed you to puff it up and make it glorious. It was that attention to detail as she expressed her love to me, to my husband, Dick, and to Peter, that I raise up for us to remember. Great friend, great citizen, great American, and we are blessed to have known her.
Hi, I'm Joan Stein. I want to say, Ginny, amen. I met Linda in December of 1990 when I was hired to be the Director of Development and Public Relations at Trickle, Three Rivers Center for Independent Living, and Linda was the chair of the foundation board. We made an instant connection, and that friendship lasted all of these years. I have been struggling to try to find stories that won't take hours to talk about because I had so many experiences with Linda. I learned so much from her. First and foremost, she created my affinity for butterflies. I am wearing a pair of the myriad of butterfly earrings that Linda bought for me. I cried when I saw her urn because to Linda, butterflies represented freedom and what she is now doing, which is dancing and singing with a beautiful voice and flying free. Many of you know that not only did I share, a professional relationship with Linda, but a personal one as well. And in 1993, I moved moved my office down the hall from Linda's at Executive Report on the 5th floor of Gateway 3. And when she decided to run for county commissioner, as I described it, as when she lost her mind, because she was able to affect so much change as a private citizen. But I was very, very closely involved with her campaign, and she told her campaign manager, John Brabender, if you ever need to know what I'm going to say about something or what I think about something and you can't find me, ask Joan. And Beth Wainwright will remember this hysterical story, is that there were representatives from around the world, mayors from around the world who were visiting Pittsburgh. And Beth had pulled a rabbit out of the hat and got them to come to Leadership Pittsburgh to meet with Linda Dickerson. The only problem was Linda Dickerson was not in downtown Pittsburgh, but I was. So we said, well, they don't know what she looks like. So I went and I walked in the room and Beth said, this is Linda Dickerson. And I gave them a presentation and thanked them for coming, and that was it. So in closing, I mean, Linda and I, we did so much together, but I will tell you that the single most important thing that we did together was we laughed. We laughed together. And a final story, because watching Linda and Donna together was like watching true, unabashed love. And they fought constantly. I used to tell them that I needed a black and white striped jersey and a whistle. But we had gone to Washington, D.C. to an event that was celebrating Jim Brady's Calling on America campaign, because we had done Forging a New Freedom campaign in Pittsburgh. And a wonderfully talented man, Mark Fallone, wrote a song called Things Will Never Be the Same Again. And we did a music video. Well, Matthew was singing the song at this event, at this gala in Washington, D.C. So we get to Washington and we were staying at the Watergate Hotel, and Linda and Donna and I were sharing a room. Well, those of you all on this call know what they were like together. And Linda said, I want to go into the bathroom in the hotel room. Donna said, Linda, you won't fit through the door. Linda said, yes, I will. And this went back and forth for 3 or 4 minutes, to the point where Linda got her wheelchair wedged in the door jamb. And I had to go get the maintenance man at the hotel to come. And Donna said, Linda, I told you this wasn't going to work. I had to go get the maintenance man from the hotel, and they had to take the door frame off so that we could extricate Linda from the door facing into the bathroom. So we have laughed about that story for many, many years. So in closing, Steve, Jamie, everybody, thank you so much for putting this together. It is a true labor of love. I remember the first meeting of FOLD, Friends of Linda Dickerson, and I will love Linda for the rest of my life. She has had an inextricable tie to me. We could not have been closer. I used to say we were sisters from different mothers. To Logan, thank you, Logan, for raising such a wonderful human being. I loved Anne as if she was my own mother. She used to yell at me like she was my mother. And thank you for letting me share my thoughts. Bye-bye.
Okay, can you hear me now? All right, thank you, Jenny. I'm Joyce Bender, the CEO and founder of Bender Consulting Services. And what I was saying is I have something to share that most of you do not know. But first, I'm a woman living with epilepsy and I'm hard of hearing. I met Linda over 30 years ago, and Joan, Linda, and I were inseparable. We were like the 3 musketeers. I loved Linda very much. And I found out that Linda had passed away the day that I was at a studio doing recordings for Bender Leadership Academy, high school students with disabilities. They didn't tell me till after, because they knew what would happen. And as soon as they told me that is what happened, I broke down crying. I could not stop crying. And right then I told them, I want you to right now do a video of me giving a tribute to Linda, which when I get it, I'll send it to you. But I wanted to do more than that. When I told you there's something you don't know, Bender Consulting Service is a national company that focuses on the employment of people with disabilities, and we sell a software product. And although we started here in Pittsburgh, not only are we national, now if an embassy calls the State Department for an expert on the employment of people with disabilities to go, I go to Indonesia, Kazakhstan, South Korea, all these countries. Here's the key. When I wanted to start this company, no one believed I could, but Linda did. And she went and spoke to 8 people in vocational rehabilitation to tell them, I know you think she can't do it, because of course people were saying, what? You think you're going to find employment for people with disabilities and they'll pay you to find them? And Linda said, but she will. So you know those countries I just told you about? None of this would have happened. Linda believed in me from the beginning. She believed in me. And for this reason, she believed so much in young people with disabilities that the other night for National Disability Mentoring Day, I launched a scholarship program, the Linda Dickerson Scholarship Program for high school students with disabilities. And we are giving $500 to 6 different students now after they've written an essay, and we have a list of things they have to do for us to choose one student from that school. But I know Linda would be so excited. I'm not going to let her go. So the way I'm not letting her go is through those young people with disabilities, the Linda Dickerson Scholarship for high school students with disabilities. And one last thing, someone mentioned about the gifts she would give you. Jenny, I know you're one of them. Did you ever notice when Linda gave you gifts, there were like thousands? Like I would go to her house, there would be so many gifts. It was like a U-Haul just pulled up with gifts. But Linda was a gift to all of us. And I know that she's up there telling every angel what they need to do. Love you, Linda.
I'm Beth Wainwright, and it's so nice to see so many of you today. And I just have to laugh about the butterflies that Joan always got and the hippopotamuses that Jeannie always got. Well, in the house that Russ and I share, we have a thing about frogs. And a couple years ago, one of my grandsons counted the number of frogs we have in our house, and he counted 101 frogs, and most of which came from Linda as gifts of Christmas or attached to the top of a package. Oh, that just brings back so many memories. But I first met Linda back in the late 80s through Leadership Pittsburgh when I was executive director, and Linda was chair of our board, and we became very good friends. I mean, I loved being with Linda, but I always felt a little inadequate. She was so intelligent, so focused and driven, and most importantly, so caring about others and about our community. I really am so thankful for how Linda expanded my thinking and challenged me to be a better person. She was a very special person, a leader, and a friend. We shared a lot, and I learned a lot from her. Thank you for allowing me to share my thoughts.
Hello, I'm Russ Kemmer, retired from Verizon Corporation, and that is actually how I met Linda the first time. We invited her to be a motivational speaker in our auditorium with our employees. And from then on, it was a wonderful experience, wonderful experience. I have written some random thoughts that over the years that I've known Linda, and so they're kind of disjointed, but you'll see, I hope, how I feel about her. To begin with, she told me long ago, people with special abilities are not handicapped. They don't have a hand holding a cup. And you're not to ask them if you can help them. You wait till they ask you for help, which gets me to an honor I received from her. She claims that I'm the best meat cutter in the city of Pittsburgh. Now, I don't know if that's true. There's probably some people on this call that would claim they also have that honor, but when she said it to me, I believed it. I've started to listen to so far, in just this few number of speakers, we've covered areas of interest that I never thought I had any into until Linda got me involved. The zoo, Trickle, Leadership Pittsburgh, the ballet, the symphony, the food bank, homeless children, running for office, the aviary, RAD, and this goes on and on. The woman was unstoppable. I don't know how she did it all. I really don't. And just finally, I am a member of the fold, and I'm so proud of that. It carries a lot of burden, though, to live up to the expectations that she had for you. And now it's sort of an unsaid word that you have to carry on. And using Leadership Pittsburgh as a model, I say, we will. Thank you.
Again, hello, and glad to join you today. I'm Joe McGrath, and I was privileged to head the tourism marketing for Pittsburgh for 23 years out of the 39 years that I was involved in destination marketing. I want to share with you a few interesting things, I hope. I have a grandson who is severely handicapped, is confined to a wheelchair. He's 9 years old. He cannot speak. He has cochlear implants, and he has, as you might guess, severe handicaps and is confined to a wheelchair. So we had many conversations about the role he can play in bringing joy to people's lives. And she certainly understood from a firsthand perspective some of the things that he goes through. But on a more positive note, I wanted to share with you some issues that occurred in my long acquaintance with her. Began when she was asked by the foundation and arts community to look at the Visit Pittsburgh as a potential for funding to market the arts to outsiders. At the time, Pittsburgh's population was declining and the arts community's attendance was declining. And we proposed to the foundations that we might be able to bring in some people to fill seats. And so Linda was commissioned to go around to other cities and see what their marketing efforts were through tourism. And she came back and gave a glowing report of what we did. And that led to our obtaining in excess of $1 million a year from the foundation community to market the arts to destinations, which was probably at that time about 15% of our budget to market the destination. So we were certainly grateful to her efforts and connections with the arts community and the ability to bridge, because there had never been in the entire country an investment by the arts and the foundation community in destination marketing. So it was a real first. From that, it led to her becoming a chair of our board of directors. And in 39 years, I had many chairs of boards, and she was absolutely the best. In fact, she was so good that we changed the bylaws to allow for a chairman to serve 3 years when the limitation had been 2 one-year terms prior to that. Now, I paid the price for that in the fact that some of the chairs that came after her did not have her talents and abilities. But again, I'm just trying to show how much she meant to us as chair. It was mentioned earlier, she never complained at any time. And she was a big cheerleader for me when I had some political challenges in the community from the then mayor's office and others. And she basically said, when politics were getting me down, to buck up and stop crying and get on with doing what I could. So she was also a personal mentor and really provided me with some sage advice. One of the things that we disagreed on was that I am a bird hunter, and every time that we had a communication, she would tell me, now promise me that you have not been bird hunting. And that was, again, one of her favorite jabs at me, and one of the things that I appreciated in having a personal relationship with Linda. So thank you very much for the opportunity to tell you a couple things. I could really fill an hour worth of stories about how she helped the Bureau, how she helped tourism, how she helped the arts. And you'd be surprised at all of the dealings that she had in the time that we were together. Thank you again.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tinsy Labrie. I had the benefit of working with Joe McGrath during the time that we started the cultural tourism efforts at Visit Pittsburgh, which was then known as the Greater Pittsburgh Convention and Visitors Bureau, a mouthful. But I was the beneficiary of Linda's work, and starting a career in tourism would never have happened without Linda and Joe as well. I knew Linda since 1998. I've lost touch with Linda really these last few years, and for that is something that I'll never forgive myself for. But I wanted to just tell you all and tell her, these are some of the things that I always wished I would have said to her during the time that I got to know her. So first is, I loved your style, Linda. I loved the scrunchies in your hair, and I loved your petite shoes and how every pair of shoes matched every gorgeous dress that you wore. And looking at the photos prior to this call, remembered a lot of the outfits that you wore. But one of my favorite things was the shawls that you would wear when you went out into the cold, and the little gloves that matched. We used to call you Hell on Wheels behind your back, because that's what you were like when you dashed from one part of the city to the other. Always a little bit late for the next meeting because you always were so needed at the last meeting. And speaking of meetings, I could never get over during our board meetings, Joe, when Linda would, she'd be running the meeting and writing her column for the Post-Gazette and slipping me notes and doing about 15 things at one time. And I just could never understand how she was able to do all those things at one time, but she was the multitasker of all time. Her brain was just the most amazing thing, but it was only matched by the size of her heart. We all have had those Linda moments, and there's just too many of them. One of my favorites was when she called me and asked me, should she hire Linda Raisin, who I had known for 20 years prior to knowing Linda. And so I warned her that when Linda Raisin gets a little feisty, the F-bomb drops several times, and so be prepared. So when the first time that happened in Linda Dickerson's office, there was never a question that she knew that was coming. I love Linda that you ran the aviary, and I hated when you left. I love the way you would send thank you notes to people who sent you thank you notes. No one was like you. You and I traveled to Delaware once to see a blockbuster art exhibition, the Fabergé Egg exhibition. And when we got there to see the exhibition, which we'd driven a long way for, you couldn't see any of the pieces because the display area was not set up for someone with disabilities. And then when we went to stay in the hotel that night, they had taken your reservation, and you had asked for a room that was accessible, and they didn't give you one. And so I watched how you handled that with Donna at your side. I knew that you were never scheduled to live longer past your 20s, and that you made it to almost 60 was a miracle. You are and were the most fearless, brilliant, entertaining, vibrant, talented, smart, loving, caring, all those words, the superlatives. But we were just the lucky ones who got to know you and have you in our lives. And God bless you, Linda, and we're going to miss you so much. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Deb Knox. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I'm not even sure when Linda and I first met, maybe 1995. A mutual friend knew that we both loved dance and introduced us, and we clicked immediately. And over the years, we had lots and lots of adventures and shared fabulous meals. She was always interested in my family and just really supportive over the decades. Last year, she asked for an all doo-wop concert at her home with accordions. Now, who does that? Well, Linda does. And so Steve Irwin, Keith Cochran, John Burke, and I got a bunch of doo-wop 60s music, and we practiced, and we went in, and Walt Maddox from the Marcells came with a karaoke machine and about 20 people, and we played Under the Boardwalk and Silhouettes on the Shade, and it was just really, really fun and just a great diversion in her crazy, chaotic house with Tidbit running around and the parrot and people and food. Anyway, for me, this is really hard because she was sick for so long and kept going. And there's a big part of me that's really in disbelief that she isn't here. And I visited her often. The day before she died, it's very serendipitous because I'm not important, but I ended up being interviewed for the PBS NewsHour about Ruth Bader Ginsburg because I read something about her impact. And I was really proud. It was like 15 seconds, but it was amazing that I got to be part of it. And I sent her the clip of it, and she sent me a note the afternoon before she died saying that Ruth Bader Ginsburg, like me, was a remarkable woman. And I was like, well, that's really over the top. But anyway, my point is that she was always encouraging, and she celebrated all the people around her all the time. And it's going to take me a long time to just get it through my head that she just isn't here. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Nancy Lee Cochran, and I had the great privilege of knowing Linda well as a neighbor, as another fundraiser in her life, and as a friend. I lived at Gateway Towers, as did Linda, so I saw her often in the hallways. I saw her frequently in her office, but also at restaurants and in the community where she was a leader and where she gave so much. I loved Linda very much, and frequently went to her office. And one of my great thrills was to go there at Christmas time. And many of you are mentioning the gifts that you received. And I had the thrill, as did others, of seeing all those gifts in one place, so beautifully wrapped and so carefully selected. And whenever I would travel, particularly to other countries, I looked for jewelry with ladybugs because Linda at one point had told me she loved ladybugs. So that was my joy to always give her something, whether it was at Christmas or any other time of the year, to give her something with the ladybugs. So I am just so thrilled to have known her. I worked with her and talked with her frequently about many fundraising projects
in which I was involved, and she talked with me about those in which she was involved. And we shared, and we encouraged, and we worked together collaboratively on a number of things. I also have 2 grandchildren who have disabilities. My granddaughter Abby has epilepsy, and my grandson Bill is blind, and yet he is an athletic trainer for a Division I football team. And hardly a day went by when I would see Linda that she wouldn't ask me about how Abby was doing and how Bill was doing, both at school and in all of their activities. She was such an encourager, and I am so grateful. Linda just loved, and she gave, and that's love's prerogative, is to give and give and give. So I'm so grateful to have known her as a giver, and I'm so grateful to have loved her. And my life has been so enriched because I knew and loved Linda Dickerson. Thank you.
I was a friend of Linda's for over 25 years, her neighbor in Gateway Towers as well, at the end of the hall, right on the 5th floor. So needless to say, we became great friends. She would knock on my door, and as neighbors do, often asking for a cup of sugar or bringing over some dessert that was left over from a dinner party. And thanks everyone for not finishing all your dessert when you were at one of our dinner parties, and or asking if she could pick something up for us at her shopping on the weekend at the Strip. And many of you know, she religiously did support all the businesses in the Strip by buying their wares, whether she needed them or not. Among the many things about Linda Dickerson that I'll never forget is her gumption and her ability to really work around any adversity. I received a call from Linda one time at work, and she asked if she could borrow my oven. She needed to cook a lot of dishes at once, and of course I acquiesced and said, sure, no problem, Linda, anytime. So what happened was, when I got home after work, I witnessed one of her famous gatherings. Linda was hosting a group of international folks, and she was hosting them for a traditional Thanksgiving dinner. So there's the reason for a lot of dishes at once being ready. And what happened was, this dinner wasn't taking place in Linda's apartment. It was in my own dining room. So, you know, I just joined in, and, you know, in great Linda style, we all had a great time, and got to know many folks who were there enjoying this Thanksgiving dinner. On another occasion, my condo became part of a holiday gathering Linda had that many of you were probably at. There was a holiday party spillover. So many people came at once, unexpectedly at the same time, that she just needed some extra room. So we opened our door and said, sure, come on over. And great hors d'oeuvres and great fun was had by all. So that was Linda, you know, in her imitable style. She was able to just, you know, get things done no matter what the adversity was. So she will be sorely missed, a true friend in all regards. So thank you for this opportunity.
Hi, I'm Laurel Herman, and with my husband, Dave Crawley. Linda and I have been friends with Christoph. The first time I met Linda was with you when you were in the States. We have 2 short anecdotes to talk about Linda, but first, we want to read a poem that we wrote about Linda, and you can see it here. It was for an event, but really, it was an opportunity to talk with Linda and Logan and others close to her about her life. So I'll read, and this is by my husband, Dave, and me. But of course, Linda's voice is throughout, and she helped edit and looked at every aspect. Linda Dickerson, Living the Impossible Dream. Linda's voice weaves through this poem from conversations and interviews and thoughts from her 2013 keynote speech about how, quote, independence extends to everyone, regardless of disability. A ramp helped your wheelchair onto the stage. Your aide stood beside you to turn every page. She held the mic close throughout your address. You spoke of your struggles. You spoke of success. You said, were you able to wish for one thing, it would not be to walk, but the power to sing. An impossible dream? No, Linda, you live the song, determined to, quote, right the unrightable wrong. At one, you faced challenges daunting for most, but when your doctor examined you then, diagnosed an illness affecting just 1 in 4 million, determined to right. Your achievements since then proved you're 1 in 4 billion. He predicted you'd live only 1 or 2 years, but your parents refused to succumb to such fears. You credit your parents for nurturing success. You three forged a team that accepted no less. Emma, the pig, was your potbelly pet. Your vet says your cat was the oldest one yet. You ran your dog Minnie for mayor to raise cash. For animal friends, you raised quite a stash. Now, Linda told me after we finished the poem that indeed her cat, Sweet Violet, lived to be 28. Your parents inspired your mental agility, taking the dis from the word disability. High school friends cheered as you celebrated first student in a wheelchair who graduated. From high school to college to master's degree, your transcript is golden, all A's and 1 B. Lead on, you say, and that's how you roll. Roadblocks obstruct, but you still reach your goal. Your father builds bridges, and Linda, you build them too. You've linked CEOs with your crew at the zoo. From hundreds you've mentored to thousands of friends. These friends are connected. The bond never ends. How can I help is the question you always ask when comrades and colleagues are faced with a task. You're the queen of philanthropy. Need volunteers? You trumpet the call and look who appears. The zillions of boards and committees you've chaired. With your business 501c3 squared, you've guided your clients to follow your lead, raising funds and respect for people in need. Countless achievements, countless accomplishments. We'll list a few. Life Trustee Emeritus, CMU, magazine founder, White House Committee, Disability Task Force, advising the city. Linda, you've lived 52 years beyond expectation. You've boosted our city. You've helped shape our nation. You were part of the team that would not back away, the team that gave birth to the ADA. It's been 25 years since that great law was passed, a law lifting lives, a law that would last, commanding all people be given respect. In your honor, Linda, a law we will all fight to protect. With kindness and wisdom, you've given so much. Excuse me. Have you any idea how many you touch? May you always feel hugs and love that we send. It's truly an honor to call you our friend. We presented at an event, and you can see many signatures signed that, of course. And Dave and I just wanted to share an anecdote. One of the last emails with Linda, she told us of some of the challenges she was having, which were monumental. And I said, Linda, you know, how are you handling all this? And the last words she said to me were, and I'll always remember this, I am resilient. And indeed, that's Linda. And then a funny thing happened. Linda and I were emailing back and forth about butterflies, which we all know she loved. And we have chrysalis in our backyard, and we're giving birth to butterflies, Dave and myself. And I sent Linda pictures. And on one Saturday, a butterfly was flying free and joyously. And Dave and I wondered, where did it come from? Because all the chrysalis were still intact. And then the next day we found out that Linda has passed. So Dave and I like to think that that butterfly was Linda flying free.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ellen Roth, and I first just want to thank Steve and Carolyn and Jamie for this opportunity to be with all of you. I have been so sad since Linda passed away, and I've had no place to go with my grief. And it's very comforting to be among so many of Linda's friends. I was in touch with her via email on September 20th. There was no indication that she wasn't feeling well or that she would be gone in 6 days. And I want to extend my heartfelt condolences to Logan. I'm going to write more about this, my thoughts and the scope of our relationship at a later date. But I just wanted to share a couple quick thoughts. I met Linda when she was first at Executive Report, and then in 2001, she wrote this wonderful article about my company in the Post-Gazette. And my company assists in retracting talent to Pittsburgh, and Linda wanted to meet all that talent. She wanted to meet their spouses, and she's always saying, who's new to Pittsburgh? How can I meet them? What can I do to help them feel connected? And she was a great connector. Linda and I, we were also girlfriends. And as Tinsy pointed out, Linda always had beautiful dresses and perfectly matched shoes. And she always looked so marvelous. And we were girlfriends, and we would compliment each other on our appearances as women do. And then Linda lassoed me into chairing the ballet ball. And I think we all know what it's like to have been caught in that lasso, because there was no way of saying no. Okay, Linda, you want me to do this? I'll be glad to do it. And I worked so hard, not only because of the ballet, but I wanted to please her. And it turned out to being designated the ball of the year. And that made her happy. And I thought, I'm done. And she said, oh no, now you have to go on the ballet board. And again, there was just no way of saying no. So Linda managed a great deal of my life at various times. And I think this is just my imagination, but I often think that when she was at the ballet and sitting there in the dark, that she was probably trying to imagine what it was like to be on that stage. And I've always felt that way. I just want to close by saying that Linda always supported me. I always supported her, and I miss her terribly. And thank you for this opportunity to share these thoughts.
Hi, I'm Connie George, and I just wanted to thank you all for the memories and smiles. I met Linda when I began working as a marketing director at the Pittsburgh Zoo, and we became friends for more than 30 years, and she always supported me throughout my career in nonprofit organizations in this region. We shared movies and dinners and galas and performances together, but mainly our love of animals, and she was my true friend. She's enriched my life so very much. If ever there was a person who embodied strength, perseverance, intelligence, compassion, it was Linda. She was that in one package. Her greatest gift was the ability to connect people who could help one another. She could move mountains that way, and she had confidence, and we all trusted her, every one of us on this call. We were motivated and inspired by her. She taught us that every man, woman, and child, every cat, dog, giraffe, butterfly, frog, had something valuable to contribute. And we all know what a struggle it was to communicate with her over the past couple years, but we never failed to feel that connection and the common goals we all shared with her. So often when people die, we mourn it as an ending. But as you know, Linda made it her life's work to develop this community, and that we have so much to contribute. And she developed a community just in the people on this call, just of the people on this call. And I think that was her greatest gift. She gave that gift to all of us, and thus her spirit will live forever in the influence that we have. And I'm grateful that she's connected me with all of you. You're wonderful people. And I hope that we can maintain that connection. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm James France. I'm so happy to see so many faces. This has been wonderful. I had a few comments I wanted to make, and I decided I would change them out of order after hearing a few things. I was with Linda the night that she was hospitalized that led to the loss of her voice. I recall being in a hotel room with her because she had been staying at a hotel while her home was under construction. I, as a commercial general contractor, had nothing to do with that, but had a lot to do with the inspiration and talking to her architect about it. And I was so happy and so ready to see her in such a great place. I had been a little bit of an influencer to sell her one apartment and move down there. And so those of you who recall the battle she got into with the building owner about wanting to do that. But that night, and I believe somewhere in that next day, was the last time I heard Linda's voice. And hearing her voice today on the recording was wonderful, very inspirational for me to hear that. I had not heard her voice in quite some time. I hope there's more places out there where her voice is recorded, because that was a change in her lifestyle. Obviously, we all know that. Connie, you just touched on that also. But while that changed their ability and her style of communication, it didn't change her incredible motivation. And that was the biggest impact she had on me. My father knew Linda back in the 80s and early 90s. And while I knew who she was, I did not meet Linda until somewhere in the mid 1990s, where we happened to be at an event together. And I walked up, introduced myself. And from there it was on. She found a willing participant at 25 years of age who was ready to attend every event she could ever conjure up, every dinner, every lunch, every way to go, and even some travel plans. I have yet to ever witness anybody in my life who had the energy, the stamina, the fortitude to continue to go places. And I would remember trying to kick myself a time or two where it'd be cold, wet, windy, rainy, or I had a whopping 6-minute drive from my house to her house to go to some event on a Monday night or a Saturday night or whatever it might be. But she was ready to go, always willing to be there. And what you think would take 1 or 2 hours for an event always took about twice as long, because on the entry path, she'd be talking to 15 people. And on the way out, she'd be talking to 17 people. And I would stand there and smile and got to meet some great people. And away we went. But we did that for years and years and years. I will miss those opportunities. I miss going up and seeing Logan. Logan, I had a little connection with commercial construction and as a bridge builder, as a building contractor. And I miss those days of seeing Logan. Logan, I'm so glad you're able to hear this and participate in this. We miss you. We miss you seeing you too. So my heartfelt thoughts to Linda. I know she's in a great place somewhere and she's happy and she's swirling around and moving free. So Linda, we miss you. I love you. And I hope to plan on seeing you again someday. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted, but my name is Manfred Fisher. I met Linda in 1997 when I moved here from Ottawa, Canada. I moved here for a job with the Convention and Visitors Bureau as International Tourism Marketing Director. So Tinsy, I remember working with you and Joe, of course. Challenging times, to say the least. And at that time, my manager said, well, you have to meet this, our chair, who's on the board of directors. And I said, all right, well, her name is Linda. So we were introduced, and I guess my life has never been the same since. I mean, as far as my career, we were always collaborating on things when it came to tourism. She'd ask about all of my trade trips, what I learned. She helped me out getting ready for a trade mission with the then Governor Ridge. We went out to Tokyo. And so we sat down over dinner and just went over some the finer points of you know, how to be, how to shake hands, yes, basically with these political people. But the thing I'll miss most about Linda is not so much the professional part of my life, there's the personal aspects of it. When we did meet, we had a fondness for the symphony, so we'd go to a lot of concerts together, and Dawn would be driving the van, so we'd all pile into that and then down to the Heinz Hall. It wasn't after about a year of going to concerts with her that she finally mentioned to me, oh, by the way, I'm tone deaf. And I was just sort of flabbergasted by that, because here it is, I'm enjoying this music. She's enjoying it, but I'm not quite sure how much she's enjoying. And those are the things, I mean, she was just selfless, and a dynamo. I mean, there's so many things I could say. I'm going to miss her dearly. We all are. She played an integral part in all of our lives. I remember doing some intern work for her when I went back to the University of Pittsburgh. I went back as an adult student, and I did a writing intern with 501c3 Squared. I worked with her at the aviary. Her fondness for animals, I guess that caught on to me because I adopted 3 rescue pups. It's just, what can I say? She was Pittsburgh. She was the light for Pittsburgh, a light in all of our lives. We'll all miss her so much. And she gave so much, and she gave it selflessly. And just to have this opportunity to say that, I'm just grateful for it, grateful for having to be, and proud to have known her. And I wish all of you the best. Thank you.
All right, buddy, how's that? Okay. All you people, I'm glad to meet you. Not too many of you know me. You might know my name. But I met Linda, I believe it was back in 88 or so, when she was in an accident and had her legs broke. So her physical therapist told her about me. I went to work for Linda so I could lift her onto the toilet or into bed or whatever. But what it ended up being is me being with Linda 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When you're with somebody that much, you just plain get attached. I was a very rough around the edges country boy at the time. I lost my job at Elgin and Ludlam, and I was fortunate to go work for Linda. We became extremely close, in a much closer way than her business partners, because we were always together. And she put up with me. She taught me how to speak English better. You know how she was. And every time I made the slightest mistake, she stopped everything and corrected me. And then I realized, because I was from way out in the country, then I realized this is a different atmosphere completely than what I'm used to. But I've learned so much from her, and her fame is her kindness and everything she's done for everybody. I was her chauffeur. I cooked for her. I cleaned for her. I did anything and everything she needed. I went and picked her up in Greensburg and brought her to Pittsburgh Monday, and then I would go back home on the following Saturday and get 1 day home a week with my lady friend at the time. But, you know, that didn't last, but that's okay. I can't believe how she was. I'm just amazed. She had no disabilities at all, as far as I could see. She had no disability, not at all. And she never stopped. Our days were very long, and I was okay with that. Sometimes them days were 18 or 20 hours long. And as far as gifts goes, you know, she was great at that too. I remember we took her van and my pickup truck and went to the mall and completely filled her van and my pickup truck with Christmas gifts And I had to stay up all night wrapping. I was very good at wrapping gifts. So I literally stayed up all night. And those of you who are familiar with her old apartment, the place was just full. And we did laugh a lot together, but I wasn't like I said, I just rough around the edges country boy, and I could make her laugh and she could make me laugh. And we had a lot of personal conversations that nobody knew about. But I love being around her 24 hours a day, 6 days a week. And no matter what she asked me to do, I don't care if it was 4 o'clock in the morning, if she needed me to go do something, I'd go do it, just whatever she needed. And she loved her French toast with the egg hanging off them for breakfast like every day. And if that's what she wanted, that's what I gave her. That's all. And she just taught me so much on a personal note and how to be, because I wasn't, when I went down there to work for her, I wasn't even close. But she was very good at smoothing out my rough edges in a heartbeat. Didn't take her long at all. And she was just as kind to me as she could possibly be. And I wasn't a business partner. I was.
Helped you get a job.
Yeah, she gave me a job. She helped me get out of a job, but I wasn't a business partner. I was her friend, a personal friend. We weren't friends because we did business together. We were friends because she needed me and she helped me. So I bawled my eyes out. But I found out she passed. And I did get to visit her a few times over the last year or so. I just wasn't ready for it. I'm still not ready for it. I'm not ready for this. But I had to get on here and let you all know how much she meant to me. And my wife met her a few times. My wife loved her too. But you know what? She made her mark on the world like nobody. Being in her situation, she left a huge mark on the world. And Logan, if you can hear me, I'm always here for you. You got my number. Just ask Jamie if you need me for anything. All you got to do is call me. I'll buzz right out to the farm and do whatever I have to do for you. But I see by all means that, Yin's had your associations with her. My association was different, but we're all hit very hard with this. And Linda, I'll see you again. And then when I get back up here and they see you again, we'll get back to work. And I'll start putting you on the toilet again. But but I love that woman so much, and I'll never stop loving her. I'm going to cut this short. Thank you so much for listening to me. Candy, it's good to see you, sweetheart. If you can hear me. And other people too, you know of me, and I did meet a few of you. You might have heard my name, but, thank you very much for letting me talk. And anybody who needs anything, Jamie can get a hold of me. I'm sitting around waiting for disability, actually, and it ain't here yet. It's been taking a couple of years. I'm trying to get that done, but, thank you for listening, and I'm sure we all love her the same. Talk to you later.
Hello, everyone. I'm Helen Sobahart. I don't remember exactly when the first time was that I ever met Linda, because I was involved in the inclusive education for children with disabilities since 1969. So she and I crossed paths many, many times. Our first, though, official clandestine planning meeting was in about 1989 when I'd come to the superintendency at Fox Chapel Area School District, and we were doing a new strategic plan where we wanted to recreate the whole system so that every child could be successful, no matter what his or her ability, background, whatever. And Linda came and spoke to our school board at the beginning of that. And she came as a recognized business person, as a recognized influencer in the community, And she made this huge difference in terms of our board being so supportive and excited about creating this plan, which did happen and did come to fruition. After that, Linda and I became both friends and longtime professional colleagues, working on all the things many of you have talked about. We worked in the Homeless Children's Organization. We worked together in various subcommittees of the Allegheny Conference, certainly Leadership Pittsburgh, as well as off the record for the food bank. But our friendship also went all of that time. And the most important thing I want to share about our friendship with all of you, and it's so wonderful to be with so many of you that I know and some that I have now just met. Linda and I used to have breakfast and lunch and dinner together when she was still able to eat, and then even when she wasn't able to speak, we communicated visually. But when we had these meals, we would call them our meaning of life meals. And we would discuss the meaning of life. And at the end of a given meal, when we would see each other the next time or talk or email or whatever, would say, well, did we figure it out yet? And would say, no, and laugh and say, well, good, that's another excuse for meeting again. And we would do that all the time, but they were our meaning of life meals. Well, it occurred to me today, in the opening quote in Linda, in her own words, when she said that she never tires of doing anything because there's always another frontier. And I realize, especially given all that you've said, but I already knew it, that Linda actually was living the meaning of life. She was living, understanding that caring, the spirit of caring and giving and creating community is what the meaning of life is all about. So what she has done is just, while she's not with us physically and we are sad, she has gone on to a new frontier. But she is here with us right now, telling us, showing us what the meaning of life is. The meaning of life is us getting together as a community and us individually touching through spirit those that we can touch in terms of making a positive difference in the lives of all of the people that are in our sphere of influence. So Linda is here. We are sad, but you can see I'm smiling because I know her spirit is with us saying, okay, I went to a new frontier, but I have left my spirit with you. And I am honored to be able to be with you and share that perspective today. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share some stories about Linda. I'm Rosemary Martinelli, having a bad hair day, and Linda would just find that to be absolutely hysterical. So I think it's most appropriate to add a little bit of humor into the conversation. Thank you to Steve and for everyone for putting all of this together and for giving us the opportunity to talk and to share a few things. I think the first time I met Linda, and I was thinking about this when I heard she passed, where was I and can I pin that down? And I think I can. I think it started around 6 o'clock at night on a weeknight at Duquesne University back in the 1980s. She and I, unbeknownst to each other at the time, were among the first students for a brand new graduate program at Duquesne University in corporate communications. I was late. Some of you might say, we know you are always late. No, I was late, but Linda also was late that night. But I was chastised by the professor. It was an adjunct professor, and it was not you, Pat Wood. I was chastised by the adjunct professor for being late, but I was late because I was in the process of losing my job because the company I was working for was going out of business. So I had to work with a reporter. So after he chastised me, about 10, 15 minutes later, Linda comes in. And he did not chastise Linda, however, but she did speak her mind in that class on many occasions. It was probably my most memorable class. Linda and I always sat by the door from that night on, since we were both latecomers, And I enjoyed that class because I learned a lot from her. Her tenacity, her willingness to challenge the professor on whatever he was saying, and her ability to get everybody in the class engaged. We did not know each other. We were all new to this, go back to school kind of concept. But Linda was there and provided that inspiration for all of us. And we stayed connected. And I believe that was one of the first times, and we stayed connected. And I think perhaps in later years, I asked her, I said, did you ever finish that degree? And she'd say, no. And I'd say, did you ever finish that degree? And she'd say, no, but I will do that. She said, you're my inspiration. I have to finish the degree. And I go, I am not your inspiration. You are my inspiration. And I know she finally went back and finished, and we always shared those kind of funny stories about class. But I think if Russ was cutting steak or meat, I was helping to cut scrambled eggs at breakfast. There were multiple times when we had breakfast or lunch. We talked about all types of things within the community and our families, and what we were doing and what I was doing and what she was doing, and could we work on something together? Could we partner on something together? And undoubtedly, Linda always reached out and asked if I could help on something that she was doing, and I'd say, call me anytime, and she did. I put this tweed kind of looking suit jacket on today because it reminded me, every time I wear it, it reminds me of Linda because of this scarf that she gave me. We were at an event together. I had just worked on coordinating some interviews for reporters, and Linda was there because she was the chairperson of the fundraising event. And she saw me with this suit jacket and turned to Donna and said, give her that scarf. And I didn't know what she was talking about. She had this scarf on the back of her wheelchair with, her bag and everything else that was there. And she said, you have to have that because it matches. And it does. It matches perfectly. And I think of Linda every time I put it on. It's almost like, she's there giving you a hug in spirit. I think that we all as individuals will be very much blessed because we've known Linda and because of the impact she's made on our lives. I could think of countless things, as others have already said, Leadership Pittsburgh, and it also interjected with her on the Golden Quill Awards for her work in the newspaper and executive report, and so many other types of things. And I can recall her 50th birthday celebration at the Buy-In Theater as if it was yesterday. Linda had a way to cross-pollinate people, and I think that even though she has passed on, we will all definitely continue. And there's not a place that I cannot go in the city of Pittsburgh, or anybody that I ever see, or a bird at the aviary, or where that I don't see Linda's imprint or her spirit somewhere there. She is indelibly imprinted in this community forever. And I feel so blessed and so honored to count all of you and to count her along in my life to have had that impression. So thank you all, and blessings to you, Linda. You'll always be in my heart.
Good afternoon. I'm Jay Leibowitz. Linda was one of my excellent students in my MBA class in the mid-1980s, and one of the very few students that I've remained in contact with over the years and decades, with many lunches and dinners and birthday parties and Christmas parties. We thoroughly enjoyed her Christmas party this past December. We always met very fascinating people there. And it was really a pleasure to meet her dad, Logan. What a terrific sense of humor he has. Linda was one of the, in terms of themes that I'm hearing from everyone this afternoon, I totally agree. Linda was one of the smartest, brightest, most caring and motivated person I know. Lesser people would give up in similar circumstances, but she remained so enthusiastic for decades, helping so many nonprofit organizations with her business acumen. She was the consummate networker, always connecting people, bringing people together. It's amazing. What a role model. A role model for my niece, who has a similar condition. Her name is Kara Leibowitz, and I'm very proud of her as well. She's developing a national reputation of being an advocate for people with disabilities. We will always remember Linda's caring smile and shining eyes. We love you and miss you, Linda. Thank you. Now, my wife, my lovely wife, Chabot, would like to say a few words.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chabot Presta, and I think this afternoon we share together is so meaningful. And I'm so glad Jay took me to see Linda, because he's been telling me, I have meeting with Linda. So I was like curious, you know? And so I'm just so glad I met her. And she was really definitely a kind of style of my friend. And like Jay said, Linda inspired so many people. And in fact, after visit, I always post my visit, the pictures, or what she said in Chinese Facebook. It's called a WeChat. So lots of Chinese people know Linda because we call her, she was a hero. She was a hero for us. And it was really sad when Jay told me about her passing, and I was very shocked. And I remember Jay and me, we both cried, you know. And I think about Linda often, about her spirit. And she was so positive, so brave and focused. So I usually ask myself, I told Jay, I said, I'm assuming she was raised up by wonderful, loving parents. So last Christmas, it was so nice. We met her father, you know, and I was right. And that's a lot to do with her positive attitude. And so one day we brought two Chinese boys. They had autism. So Linda invited us for dinner and also another dinner. And I was just so impressed. She was so kind. She didn't really eat the dinner, you know. She was just with us, order anything you want, she said. And at first time I was like, Linda, you didn't eat, you invited all of us to a high class restaurant, everything, you know. I was just so impressed. And then the two boys asked her, Linda, what you do, how to face the negative situation in life? And then Linda said, she was so confident, I was so impressed. She said, you know what? I don't care what people talk, what people think about me. And I don't have time to worry about it. So I just think she has such a great attitude. She didn't waste her energy in negative things, you know. Like somebody just said, she never complained, you know. And also, I think, she loved the animals. So last Christmas or birthday, one of my girlfriend, she was making jewelry. So she made this beautiful animal of a leopard, a big one. So I was so glad, and she loved it. She immediately put it on her neck, you know. And I just believe if more people in this world, like Linda, this world will be much, much better. And I will always remember Linda. And because although she was not here with us, but I think her love, her kindness, her positive influences never will leave us, always will be here. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Andrew Swenson. I'm here with my wife, Michelle Van Doren, and I've prepared my comments as an address to Linda, who is present, of course, as someone who has inhabited all of us, as is evident by this point. To my dear, beloved Linda, how then are we to say goodbye? But why do we even need to? Perhaps then, instead, I would say this. For all of our musings on religion, film, and politics as we solve the world's problems over lunch at Lydia's, for your steadfast faith in me, in all moments as I faced my vulnerabilities, and for your trust in sharing your vulnerabilities, for the constancy through the vicissitudes of your life and mine, and for always believing, like me, that integrity will get us through any moment, no matter how hard. For the privilege of carrying you when you needed to be lifted, and for your strength in lifting me when I needed to be lifted. For celebrating my beloved Michelle, and for making our December wedding a Christmas wedding that still graces our tree every December. For your love and loyalty to my children, giving Nicholas an opportunity to hold penguins, and giving Sophia the chance to build a tiny stick log cabin with Dick Thornburgh, former governor and attorney general of the United States, though she didn't know it, on his back patio. For always holding on to what is good and having the courage to do what is right. We, and we all say today, not goodbye, but thank you. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you again, as we are parted in body only a short while, but bound by love at all times. I love you dearly. Godspeed, Linda Dickerson.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carol Pano, and I'm here with my husband, Bob Seeger. And we would also like to thank Steve and Jamie and everyone for arranging this and send our love and condolences to Logan. It's been really surreal thinking of Linda not being here with us anymore. So to participate in this, like so many of you had said, is really special. And I will say it was really hard to try to think about how to capture, you know, so much of Linda in a couple of minutes. And so I think it's great that through all of our words, we are capturing everything about her. And a couple of things that others have said that just really resonated was the how can I help? You know, not one conversation or visit with Linda didn't have those words. And just recently, Rosemary talking about her bad hair day, we actually lost our power and had to leave the house to get on the Zoom. So there was no hairstyling happening. And the scarf is because Linda always had a scarf on, right? When she was out and dressed up, there was always a scarf. So I just think this is great that we can all share these memories. You know, I first met Linda because I'm also a Carnegie Mellon alum and have worked there my whole career, and met Logan over 30 years ago, and can't even really remember the first time that Linda and I met. But you know, what was sort of a professional CMU affiliation instantly became a friendship because we shared so many of the same passions, our love of our alma mater, our love of animals, Pittsburgh, the vibrant community, the arts, and last but not least, and many more, was our sharing of the love of the Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank. So again, you know, we quickly turned it into a mutual admiration and friendship, and had many visits. And most recently, actually, you know, I saw her at Gateway Towers in February, but we Zoomed about a month before she passed. And I'll never forget that, because you know, the pandemic is tough and there's a lot of struggles, and we talked about our families and the difficulties and how we were dealing with things, and how long it had been since she had seen her dad. But we also shared a lot of laughters during that Zoom that I'll never forget, because there were 3 of us on that call, and the third one was the parrot. The parrot had equal talk time that day, and I found myself often saying, was that you, Linda, or the bird? So that's a memory that is really happy, and I'm glad that I have that. And you know, as for Linda, I mean, I think everybody's really captured what I planned on talking about today, that you know, I just respected and admired her so much for her intelligence, her humor, her kindness, her compassion, and really just always could not believe how she never saw herself as having a disability. You know, she really used that as a strength and a way for her to help others, to champion disability rights, to do all the great things that she did and that we've all talked about today. And I think back to a time when she had said to Bob and me, you know, in your travels, can you look for these particular little souvenirs? Because I have a disabled friend that would be really joyed with those things. And to me, that just really highlighted how she never saw herself as different from any of us, and that was such a powerful thing for her, and helped her to accomplish all the things that she did. So I too believe that Linda is smiling down on us and will live on through all of us in our work, and we will both miss her dearly. So thank you again for inviting us to participate.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is James, and I got to meet Linda over 20 years ago when I was serving as a Coro Fellow. I spent a month working in her office, and then that launched a 2-decade-long friendship, multifaceted relationship. She helped me get my first job. She was in the process of working with several people on this call on starting the Homeless Children's Education Fund. And she said, I think you should be the executive director of this new nonprofit. And I said, I've never had a job in my life. I went from college to being a Coro Fellow to not knowing what I'm doing next. And she said, it's a startup organization. How badly could you possibly screw it up? The worst thing you could do is it won't be here anymore when you're done. It's not here now. And in every turn of my life since then, she has been a friend and a mentor, a guide, a partner. She's helped me sort through so many personal and professional challenges. And all of my memories of all the years that I lived in Pittsburgh are full of Linda Dickerson. I'm so grateful for the relationship that I had with her. Thank you.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Justin Aaronworth. First, thank you, Steve, and to all the Irwins and everybody for organizing this. And it feels appropriate to go after James. I first met Linda in 2001 as a Coro Fellow, and I followed in James's footsteps. And so for the first month or so of my relationship with Linda, she would introduce me as the new James, which was a great honor. And I thought that Steve really captured what was most on my mind in a bunch of ways, but one thing that really stood out in what Steve said was that there's so many of us on this Zoom who are mentees, friends, family, colleagues, and I feel really fortunate to I think fall into many of those categories. I really saw Linda as a mentor, but of course she became a dear friend, and the friendship that we had was it was so special in the sense that she wanted to be together to laugh. She always wanted to give, and I know this has been said a number of times, but I think it just has to be repeated. I agree with I think it was Helen who said that she really lived the meaning of life, and if the meaning of life, which I certainly don't know, is involved at all with relationships and being there for people, then that's Linda, and that was certainly the role that she played in my life. We remained friends throughout the last 20 years, and there was a time when I was in between things, and I needed. It was a tough time for me, and I called Linda and I said, hey, what's going on? You doing anything where I could just sort of lend a hand? And she said, of course. And she had some kind of project. I don't know what it was because it didn't really matter. It was just an opportunity to be there with her and to spend time with her. And so she was certainly always there for me and all of us when we needed it most. And to just sort of wrap up, I now live in New Orleans, and I had been emailing with Linda. She was very upset with me. I was looking at some of these emails, and she said, when COVID first hit, New Orleans was one of the first hot spots. And there was one email that just said, I read 5 newspapers a day, and I don't like what I'm hearing about where you are, and, report. And so, and right up until her death, unfortunately, we had a bunch of hurricanes going on down here. And so I was looking at the last, number of email exchanges, and they were all about, my favorite was one of the last ones. The subject was, I thought you had good judgment. Why do you live down there? And, you cause your friends up here to be worried about you all of the time. And that was Linda. She was just always thinking of you, always there. And I think we all have lived better lives, Linda, because of you. So as so many others have said, thank you. We love you, and we'll see you again soon. Your memory is certainly a blessing.
Hello, I'm maybe some of you don't know who I am. I'm actually I'm Mike O'Leary, and I was part of the team that got Linda communicating again at the I Can Talk clinic, so helping her with her communication device. And I always like to say that, while I never heard Linda speak, I always heard her voice. And that was for sure something that was very remarkable about her. I think I've known her probably about 5 years now. And over that time, she, her and I got to, from just a professional relationship to a friend, becoming a friend. And, it even went so far as she came to my wedding and tried to become my de facto wedding planner. But I had to set some boundaries for her. She was a brilliant woman. And I had heard some things about her when I had first started going there to help her after she had gotten her trach and could no longer communicate. And I like to share this story because all of us probably know the clicks that Linda would give us as she was trying to gain your attention. And as I was working with her, I finally said, look, I'm trying to get everything set up. So, let me set up this communication device and we'll see, what you can do. And at that point, she had been struggling, medically, and we really weren't sure, how much of Linda is left. She had some issues with her health. So I finally got her set up on a system and said, I just want you to try and spell out, anything you want to tell me. And the first line she told me was, I have a brilliant IQ, right? And so I knew at that point, that Linda was back and that we hadn't lost her. But she was an incredibly amazing person. She helped us with, with our business and how to run a nonprofit, and just a wealth of knowledge that, was just invaluable to keeping our small little company going. So it was a real privilege to get to know her. And, she'll definitely be missed. And even now, as I'm getting my PhD, she was going to be helping with my research and be a participant with that. So, we were emailing up until the last, few days that she passed away, discussing that. And, I just want to say, if anybody had received emails at 3, 4 in the morning, I'm the reason, because I taught her how to send emails. So, but that was a big thing for her, that independence that honestly she had never had until she had something else taken away from her, which was her ability to speak. So it was kind of an interesting phenomenon, an interesting thing to see. So thank you very much. And, Linda will be greatly missed.
Hello, everybody. Steve, thank you for putting this together. Everybody has had these great stories of the first time they met Linda, and mine is probably no different and completely different from everybody else's. The one thing that I didn't realize when I met Linda back in the early 90s is that I had met in the moment a transcendent soul. And it didn't take long to figure that out, because her spirit was so much bigger than the confines of her wheelchair. We started off, she was my first friend in Pittsburgh. I got here not knowing anybody, trying to find meaningful employment. And somewhere along the line, somebody said, well, Linda Dickerson is a person you should meet, without telling me anything about her. And so I went into her offices at Executive Report, sat in the waiting room. Working on Linda time meant that I sat longer than, I thought I was going to. And then I heard the mechanical wheelchair coming. I thought, this is not, something's new here. I got to adjust on the fly. And as soon as I realized that, within a heartbeat, it didn't matter, because we hit it off. We talked, we became friends kind of at that moment. But I still didn't know the true depth of who she was. And who she was, in my mind, as I think about it, is she was like a force amplifier for humanity. She made everybody better. She made me better. And over the years, as this professional relationship developed into a friendship, and I became part of the fold, which is probably the greatest honor of my life, we became friends, and I became her milkman delivery device, because she has a love of chocolate milk. And I told her, made the mistake of telling her, I know the best chocolate milk ever. I'll bring you some. And then every time I came to visit her, I had to bring her a gallon or two. And it was my honor to have done that. I'm like everybody else here. I loved her. I miss her. I'm glad I knew her. and I look forward to seeing her again. And once again, thank you, Steve. And that's all I have to say.
Hi, I'm Mark Lynch. I'm not sure if Nick's going to jump in or not, but I'm really pleased to be here today, and just so honored to have heard all of the comments all of you have made. Frankly, I feel cheated. I've only known Linda for 3.5 years or so. We were actually competitors. I was also consulting to nonprofit organizations, and invariably we would be competing with each other for the same contract in many cases. So, you know, we just never had the opportunity to work together until about 3 years ago, when we shared part of an assignment. Well, we had different assignments for the same client, and it was a terrific opportunity to get to know her. Obviously, an outstanding individual and extremely bright. You know, I think I think she recognized in me something that was going to be helpful to her. So we got to know each other much better, and then decided to work together on a couple of projects, which is what we had been doing when she passed. I can tell you many of the same stories. They all sound similar to the ones you've shared. Very special person, close to us, not just a colleague, of course. In our case, she was also, as with many of you, a friend of the family. She and her father invited my wife and I, Kathy and I, out to their farm last summer with our 2 grandsons. At that point, they were 5 and 3. They were thrilled to see the horses. Linda took us over to the barn, and it was just such a wonderful day with Logan teasing the boys and hosting us for a really lovely dinner. It was just a wonderful, it'll be a wonderful memory forever for me. You know, in a way, I wanted to tell you just briefly about this last project she and I were working on together. It's the Homewood Community Development Collaborative. And, you know, in a way, I think she saw this as sort of a culminating project for her, because it wasn't just a single organization, but literally a collaborative of a number of nonprofits. And, you know, I think she saw in this project the opportunity to not just impact one organization, but obviously to impact multiple organizations. And then, you know, really at some point, it'll be tens of thousands of people who will benefit from, you know, the work that she did there, and that will continue. You know, I'm not sure what else to say. You know, I know I think we all know that she was a kind and caring person, a loving person. I'm not so sure that she would appreciate all of the sentimentality, but I think, you know, she certainly deserves these memories. And you know, I think at the same time, as you all have said, she would want us to soldier on. So that's what we're going to do. Again, I appreciated the chance to say a few words. It was lovely to hear all of your stories. Again, I feel cheated. I wish I had met her and gotten to know her many, many years ago. My life would have been much richer for it. So thank you very much, and look forward to hopefully seeing all of you at another celebration at some point. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Evan Frazier. I first met Linda in the mid 90s. I remember she was meeting with Jim Broadhurst at Eaton Park, and I had a chance to meet her then for the first time. In the upcoming months and years, we quickly learned that we had a connection through Junior Achievement and then Leadership Pittsburgh. And she has had such an impact in my life, and really not just me personally. She's impacted my whole family. I really see her as, she's obviously a friend, but we really saw her as an aunt and a godmother to, you know, children. She's even impacted my mom. I remember she threw a fundraiser for my mom when she was running for public office as a county councilwoman. I remember when Linda wrote her first book, she then was willing to share about the process and those kind of things to help me as I wrote my first book. And she was in it because she was such an extraordinary person and inspiration. I'll never forget the dinners. She invited us out to the farm Linwood, and you know, the family came, the children came and get a chance to see the animals and really get to know Logan, and he was so wonderful taking the kids around and even showing them about the businesses that he had. I'll never forget those wonderful memories. She's impacted the lives of countless people. When I ran the Hill House, had been mid 2000s. I remember when she finished her book, she came to read to the kids in our youth program, in our children's program, our early learning. I'll never forget the support she gave me at Manchester when I worked there. I'll never forget the support she gave me as a part of CMU. In fact, I had the fortunate opportunity to serve on some of the committees and advisory boards, but also to serve as a trustee, large part because of Linda. And I'm very grateful for those amazing opportunities. I think about how she's impacted my, providing opportunities for my sister, providing opportunities for my son to do an internship. I mean, she is about giving. Her whole life has been about giving and service to other people, service to this community. She has just an incredible spirit. We talk about resilience when we went to visit her in the hospital. And, I think about, just what she had to go through and how she kept pushing through. I mean, she was the inspiration. I love seeing the photos at the beginning. As you were going through at the beginning, I saw there was a photo of her and Nia, and I just remember, thinking through, what example to push through adversity, like Linda did, and that she's given all of us to think about, And so really, when I think about Linda, I think about, what she represented, what she embodied, the inspiration that she has been and still is to me, to my family, but so many countless people just out in our community. And it really is a very special opportunity that we've had to have her in our lives. And I just want to say thank you, Linda. Thank you to obviously Linda's parents. I know her mom is no longer with us, but certainly Logan, thank you for that. Thank you for making sure that you raised an incredible daughter. And thank you for sharing her with all of us. I really value this opportunity. Steve, thank you for this opportunity to have us share today. She would have loved this, to see all of us together. In fact, as people spoke, I kept thinking about the fact that many of you actually met through Linda. And in one way, fashion, or form, we all connected through Linda. And she would have loved this bond that we have together. I think about, I think about Joyce Bender, as she was speaking earlier, and I think of all the amazing people that were sharing their stories. So I'm just honored to have this opportunity to share a little bit of my story with her, but most importantly, to share the love that she's expressed to all of us. And so with that being said, thank you, Linda. Thank you, Logan. Thanks to all of you. Really value the opportunity to stay connected with you. Thank you.
I'm Jerry Wood Sullivan. I've known Linda for 56 years. She has been a blessing in my life for all this time. I was a sophomore at Seton Hill and a psychology major, and I had my first assignment to give a Stanford Binet intelligence test. And I my first opportunity was to go down to the developmental nursery school that was on our campus. And Linda was the child that the director of the nursery school gave to me. I expected the testing situation to be about 20 minutes, and it ended up to be about an hour and 20 minutes. And this absolutely beautiful little towhead, dainty little lady, just dressed perfectly, just regaled me with all kinds of stories. I was so charmed, and I was thinking, boy, does this little girl have an imagination. I was trying to write things down. And so when I did get finished and I got back to my dorm and I was trying to figure out the IQ, I was sure I was doing it wrong because it was such a high number. And I asked a few friends, would you check this? And they got the high number. And I finally went to my intimidating professor, and she was writing on a chalkboard in a lecture room. And when I came in and I said, well, I've done something wrong. I tested this child and I got this very high number. And she swerved around and said, oh, she had a squeaky voice, you must have tested Linda Dickerson. I got such and such. What did you get? And I had gotten like 2 points less than what she had gotten. So that was the first day I met this little genius child. And the way I like to spin the story is that because she was a genius, she saw my worth. And from that day on, Linda and I became very good friends. And the next year, I used to go over to the Dickersons and help teach Linda to read. She wanted to read. She was only 3.5. She had just turned 3. And she wanted to learn to read, and she was just interested in everything. Her parents were just wonderful to me and have been kind of role models my entire life. So I feel like we grew up together. I was 19 and Linda was 3, and I followed her through her educational system, and so I will never get over missing Linda. She's just been a strong point in my life. And I do think if I ever get really crazed with talent, I should love to write a play called The Dynamic Duo, all about Linda and Donna together, because they were an incredible dynamic pair. Thank you for letting me share this.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, Nick.
Yeah, you can. You can hear me, you said?
Here you go ahead.
All right. I switched to my phone. Something was going wrong with the computer.
Happy to have you.
Yeah, thanks. So I want to thank Steve, Carol, and Jamie, and Logan for arranging this tribute to our beloved Linda Dickerson. I've known her for so long, it's hard to keep it short, but I'll do my best. It's said that the truest measure of a person is how much he or she is loved by others, and the turnout of this memorial and the response of others who've sent their condolences showed how deeply Linda was loved and valued by so many of us. Each of us on this call knew Linda in different roles, as a loving daughter, a loyal friend, a generous and caring person with a strong desire to help and share with others, even strangers, people she met for the first time, a champion of human rights, and a valued colleague. However we knew Linda, though, we have the common bond of having been blessed to know and share time and our experiences with her. I first met Linda when I learned of her leadership in the Pittsburgh region. I phoned her office and as a stranger asked for an appointment so that I could meet her. Naturally, she took the meeting, not knowing me yet, and made me feel very welcome. At the time, I had just taken the position as Senior Development Officer at the Pittsburgh Zoo, and I thought that Linda would be a great prospect as a board member. I came to find out later how great she would be. We had a very good meeting at her office, and I was immediately drawn to Linda because of her sincerity, her easy smile, optimistic outlook, and her intelligence. I didn't realize at the time that Linda had a special place in her heart for our friends in the animal kingdom. But Linda soon let me know that and introduced me to her pot-bellied pig, and over the years to her entire menagerie. Linda was open to the idea of serving on the zoo board, and as with everything that she did, her leadership, her character soon endeared her to the management and board members of the zoo. And before long, predictably, she was elected president of the board, a role that she held with many organizations during her career. Needless to say, Linda did a great job in the role of board president and was a wonderful resource to the organization through both good and difficult times. As she had done as chair of the board of Pittsburgh Ballet Theater, where she took the ballet's finances from being in the red to a position of financial stability, Linda helped the zoo and our development and membership departments to build the zoo's financial base and nearly double our membership in only several years. Her outstanding leadership to more than 20 nonprofit organizations in the region is well known. But what astounded me as I got to know Linda as a dear friend and close colleague was her intense focus, her refusal to let anything deter her, her fierce determination in the face of what for most people and for me would have been a debilitating disability. In counterbalancing these traits were her softer side, her unfailing optimism and ready smile, her open, sharing, and giving personality. I soon began to understand that for Linda, her condition was not a disability. Like so many others, I've always marveled at the phenomenal accomplishments that she achieved. I came to understand soon that unlike the corporate CEOs or political leaders in our region who sought her advice, Linda was the most influential person in our region. As Joe McGrath and Tinsley Lipchak have said, Linda's strategic thinking was instrumental in establishing the Pittsburgh Office of Tourism. When Linda became a consultant to this project for the Convention and Visitors Bureau, I was honored that she invited me to schedule and attend benchmarking meetings in Atlanta, Savannah, Philadelphia, Chicago, and in the Canadian cities of Hamilton, Toronto, and Ottawa. Linda loved Toronto, where I lived before coming to Pittsburgh, and she and Donna Farrow and I made many trips there. Donna will remember one cold, late winter day in Manfred's hometown of Ottawa when the three of us went to a restaurant for lunch before meeting with the director of the city's Office of Tourism. The main entrance of the restaurant had steps and was icy and blocked by snow, so we went up a ramp to enter through the door from the deck, where outside tables with large umbrellas are set up. It was a tight squeeze to get Linda's chair between the tables, so Donna helped Linda position her chair and I moved one of the tables. What I didn't know was that the umbrella over that table was full of ice water. As I tilted the table, the water cascaded and streamed right down the back of Linda's shawl and her neck. In 2 seconds, Linda was drenched and sitting in a pool of cold water. I felt awful about this, but characteristically, Linda laughed it off, saying that she'd been through much worse. Once inside the restaurant, we were able to get her reasonably dry, and I gave her my coat for lunch and our visit to the Ottawa Visitors Bureau, which went very well. Once back in Pittsburgh in her usual style at our meeting with the CVB board, Linda made a masterful presentation on the findings from our visits to those 7 cities. Over nearly 20 years, Linda and I worked together on many successful projects, including at the National Aviary, where her leadership and judgment as CEO never failed for a minute, and most recently with Jamie Hudzik on the successful $9 million capital campaign for Achieva to benefit people with disabilities, and later on another capital campaign for Verlin, an organization that serves people with profound intellectual disability. A few years ago, I was blessed to be able to establish the Linda A. Dickerson Disability Rights Award at the Three Rivers Community Foundation, to which many of the people on this call have contributed. Each year, that award makes grants in Linda's name to grassroots disability rights organizations. Many of the people on this call helped to plan and execute a special tribute event at Rodef Shalom Synagogue, at which 240 of Linda's friends and admirers came together to honor Linda's life. And through WQED, we put together a touching 7-minute video tribute on the life and times of Linda Dickerson. Angie Longo, Steve Irwin, Terry Moore, Jamie Hudzik, John Sarah Bear, Joan Stein, Bob Booter, Linda Reyes, and several others helped in this project, and we're very grateful to them. Deb Knox mentioned Ruth Bader Ginsburg, which resonated with me because I felt that those two great women would have loved each other as sisters, and because there was much in Ruth Bader Ginsburg's character that reminded me of Linda. I read a story recently about the Chippewa Indians in Quebec. One day, the grandfather of one of the young Indian boys came to him and said that he had 2 wolves fighting beside him. One was a gray and the other one black. The gray wolf wanted his grandfather to be courageous, patient, and kind. The other, the black one, wanted his grandfather to be fearful and cruel. This upset the young boy, and he thought about it for a few days and then returned to his grandfather. He asked, "Grandfather, which of the wolves will win?" The grandfather put his hand on the boy's head and said, "The one I feed." Through all of her life, Linda Dickerson fed the gray wolf, and this made her the courageous, patient, and kind woman that we all knew and loved. As to those that Linda leaves behind, we'll continue on our way, recalling fond memories and good times that she shared with us. It's true that the holiday parties that she hosted and the cultural events that she attended faithfully won't be the same without her, but we'll know that Linda will be there with us in spirit as she was in life. Thanks.
My name is Jamie Hudzik, and I think I know most of you on this call, but I started working at 501c3 Squared in 2009. And over the last 11 years, I've met most of you at some point or another in working with Linda. And I didn't prepare any formal remarks before this call because I knew it would run long because everybody has wonderful Linda stories. I also wasn't sure if I'd be able to keep it together long enough to say something, which is why I know Carolyn is not saying anything right now. But after listening to all of you, I just want to share an observation on a couple of themes and then share one quick story. A lot of you spoke about eating with Linda, food, gifts, and animals. And the last time I saw Linda in March, she had invited us over to celebrate my daughter's birthday. I have a 3.5-year-old daughter. And as most of you know, Linda was a self-proclaimed food snob, but she still made Kraft box mac and cheese for my daughter because that was the only thing that she would eat. And I appreciated that, her doing that. And she loved feeding people even when she couldn't eat herself anymore. She loved hosting and feeding everyone. But Linda would always give Sadie, my daughter, elephant gifts. A lot of you have talked about the animals that were meaningful for you and Linda. And she did that because elephants are matriarchal. And while listening to all of you share your stories, I realized that Linda is the ultimate matriarch. She is the matriarch of the fold, and I'm so grateful to be a part of that with all of you and to have met you over the years. So thank you all for sharing your Linda stories and memories with us, and please continue to share them. As most of you know, we set up an email account, Linda Dickerson Memories @gmail.com, which I'm trying to share with you in the chat. But you can send pictures, stories, videos, anything that reminds you of Linda or that you would like to share with folks. I know Steve has been talking with CMU and the History Center to try to continue Linda's legacy, as all of you have talked so beautifully about. And I'm so glad that we could come together to celebrate Linda's life today. And I look forward to continuing her legacy with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Wow. Before we close up, I want to give the man of the hour a moment to say hello to everybody. Logan, are you able to unmute and speak to those assembled?
Well, sit here and I wonder why I'm sitting here, but now I know. It was a wonderful day. Thank you for doing what you're doing. And I will continue to do what I haven't been doing. I just laugh and cry at the same time. I bet you can't do that. Good neat day.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you.
The last two things we do have, and Charlie has been incredible hanging on this entire time. We are going to show you again more pictures of Linda, but Charlie is going to, Charlie Aker, who's with us, who plays the cello, is going to treat us to a very special musical accompaniment.